What if, in the shadows of Gotham, Batman wasn't merely a man? What if, through the years, through the constant battle against his most dangerous foes, he had transcended the boundaries of mortality? Gotham's Dark Knight, a figure bound by pain, loss, and an unyielding pursuit of justice, had forged a legend so powerful that it became impossible to die. On the surface, the idea seems absurd. Batman is human, after all. His body bears the scars of countless battles. His bones creak and his muscles tire. He is a man who has taken on the weight of an entire city, carrying the mantle of protector with every step. But there are whispers, unspoken legends among Gotham's criminals, that perhaps Batman is not quite as mortal as he seems. The stories, some of them told only in hushed tones, suggest that the man behind the mask has found a way to defy death, not through some magical curse, but through his sheer willpower, his obsessive dedication to his mission, and the eerie events that seem to follow him. Consider Gotham, a city drowning in its own darkness, its very essence steeped in crime and despair. Batman, the ever-vigilant watchman, is always there, no matter how many times Gotham falls into chaos. Some say that the city itself has a strange connection to him, that Gotham doesn't just need Batman but has come to feed off his will to protect it. It's as if Batman's fight for the city has become intertwined with its very survival. Gotham thrives because of him, and in return it keeps him alive, forever locked in a cycle of torment and rebirth. There are moments, fleeting ones, when Batman is seen standing at the edge of the Batcave, his cape billowing in the wind, as if waiting for something. Some believe it's the weight of his loss, the endless haunting of his parents' deaths. Others whisper that it's something more, that he stands there, not just as a symbol of justice, but as someone who understands the deeper secret of his existence. Every night, Batman fights against the darkness, against his enemies, who constantly return stronger than ever, as if they too know the secret, that Gotham can never truly be free, just as Batman can never truly rest. In the oldest corners of Gotham, near the abandoned ruins of Arkham Asylum, there are stories of strange occurrences. Some of the city's most deranged minds have spoken of visions, of moments when they were certain that Batman was no longer a man. These are not the ravings of the criminally insane, but murmurs of those who have encountered Batman in the most bizarre of circumstances. There have been whispers of strange encounters, where time seemed to bend and stretch, and for a brief, fleeting moment, the Batman they faced seemed different. Some say his eyes were colder, more distant, as if he had seen the world end and begun anew. Consider the Lazarus Pits, a central feature of Gotham's darkest corners. The immortal Ra's al Ghul, Batman's greatest philosophical adversary, has used these mystical pools to extend his life for centuries. But what if, in his endless struggle against his foes, Batman had found his own way to cheat death? Not through any mystical means, but through the sheer power of his mind, a mental and physical conditioning so extreme that it altered the very limits of his body. Perhaps, over time, Batman learned how to rebuild himself, to rejuvenate his spirit and body through an inexorable determination to fight for Gotham, no matter the cost. His body is battered, scarred, and torn, yet it keeps going, a symbol of his refusal to be broken. Could it be that Batman had found immortality in his own obsessive dedication to his mission? The city itself offers cryptic clues. Gotham's darkness seems to shift and warp around Batman, as though it responds to his unrelenting commitment. The criminals who have faced him time and time again grow stronger, but they never truly defeat him. and they never seem to fully understand why. The Joker, the ultimate agent of chaos, has always pushed Batman to the edge, but he too falls into the same endless pattern. He causes destruction, only for Batman to rise again. There are those who have said that in the Joker's maddest moments, he's questioned Batman's very humanity, wondering if the Dark Knight is something more than a man, something tied to the eternal conflict of Gotham itself. It's in the moments of silence that the true mystery lies. In the quiet corners of the Batcave, when the hum of the city dies down and only the faintest sounds of dripping water fill the air, Batman's presence feels otherworldly, as though he has become part of the very essence of Gotham. He is not just the protector of the city, he is the city itself, its dark reflection and its eternal guardian. And what if, in his quest to defeat evil, he has somehow become immortal, a being trapped in a perpetual cycle, never allowed to rest, never allowed to die? Time doesn't seem to move in Gotham the way it does in other cities. Batman has faced enemies who should have long perished, yet they return stronger and more dangerous each time. The Joker, in particular, seems to possess an uncanny ability to reform himself despite his countless defeats. Is this some cruel trick of fate? Or has Batman's influence over Gotham somehow kept him locked in this endless battle? Perhaps, in his desire to protect the city, Batman himself has become part of this curse. Unable to die, unable to escape, forever bound to Gotham's darkness. Consider the impact of Batman's role as a mentor to others. The many Robins, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and others, each take up the mantle of Batman in their own way, continuing the legacy he began. Batman's immortality is not just in his own survival, but in the fact that his mission never dies. His influence on others, his teachings, his code of honor have ensured that his spirit lives on, long after the body of Bruce Wayne has aged. Could it be that Batman's immortality is not just physical, but psychological, existing in the hearts and minds of those he inspires? Every time Batman faces death, whether in battle or from the toll his body takes from his endless crusade, he emerges. He keeps coming back, stronger, more resolute. His mind, his body, his will, they refuse to be shattered. The criminals of Gotham, the police, and even his closest allies all watch in awe, wondering, how can he do this? How can he keep going, no matter the cost? It is in the answers to these questions that we may find the truth about Batman's potential immortality. It's not about a magical curse, nor is it about any physical enhancement. It's the unyielding force of his spirit, a force that refuses to let Gotham fall. Perhaps, in the end, Batman has become something more than human, not by any supernatural means, but by his very refusal to accept defeat. Gotham's eternal darkness has become his forever battle, and as long as the city exists, Batman's presence will never truly fade. In this dark tale, Batman's immortality is bound not to the physical realm, but to the eternal struggle that defines his existence. His refusal to kill, his endless commitment to justice, has transformed him into something greater, something more than just a man. Gotham may never know peace, but in that endless struggle, Batman lives on. It was a night like any other in Gotham, the city that never sleeps, where shadows stretch long and the flickering lights of the street lamps do little to illuminate the truth hiding in every alleyway. The air is thick with tension, as if the very city itself is holding its breath, waiting for something, anything. The night belongs to Batman, as it always does. But tonight, as he stands atop one of Gotham's tallest buildings, his cape fluttering in the wind, a thought crosses his mind, a thought that has lingered longer than usual. What if, despite all the battles fought and won, despite all the sacrifices made, Batman was not merely a man, but something else entirely? Could it be that the man who lost his parents so tragically, the man who swore vengeance for their deaths, has transcended the limits of mortality? Could it be that Batman, the Dark Knight, has become an eternal figure in Gotham's endless war against darkness? The idea is almost absurd. After all, Batman is human. He was born in a world governed by time, a world where human limitations reign. He ages, he bleeds, and he can die. But still, as he watches the city below, it's as if something in him refuses to accept the inevitability of his end. He has faced death more times than he can count, in his battles with Gotham's most dangerous foes, in his struggles with the darkness of his own mind. Yet, every time, he has come back, stronger, unyielding. And that, perhaps, is where the truth lies. Gotham, the city that created Batman, is a place that has always been on the edge of despair. The crime, the corruption, the constant decay, all of it is a reflection of the darkness Batman is constantly fighting against. The cycle of crime, fear, and violence that Gotham endures is not unlike the cycle that Batman himself is locked in. Each time he defeats one criminal, another rises to take their place. The Joker, Bane, Ra's al Ghul, and the countless others, they all return time and time again. They push Batman to his limits. They try to break him, but they cannot destroy him. Each time he rises, battered but unbroken, determined to continue his fight. And in that there is something eternal about him, something beyond the reach of mortality. Batman's resilience is almost unnatural, as if the very city refuses to let him go. Consider the Lazarus Pits. In the stories surrounding Batman's enemies, particularly Ra's al Ghul, the Lazarus Pits are used to restore life, to extend lifespans beyond the natural limits. Ra's al Ghul has lived for centuries, repeatedly immersing himself in the pits to prolong his life. But there is something interesting about this idea when we look at Batman. While he has never used the Lazarus Pit, his dedication to the city, his refusal to give in to despair, his willingness to die in service to Gotham, these traits suggest that perhaps Batman himself has found a way to defy the natural course of time. Not through external forces, not through mystical means, but through sheer willpower. Batman is driven by an unrelenting need to protect Gotham, and it is this obsession, this deep-seated purpose that keeps him going, despite the pain and exhaustion that would bring any other man to his knees. There are those who whisper in the dark corners of Gotham, those who know the secrets of the city, that Batman is more than just a man. They speak of how Gotham's very essence seems to bend around him, as if the city itself recognizes the importance of his existence. Gotham thrives on chaos, but it also seems to have an unnatural attachment to Batman, as though it knows that without him it would fall into complete ruin. Batman's immortality is bound to Gotham's very soul, and as long as the city stands, so too will he. But it isn't just physical immortality that Batman embodies. It's the immortality of the spirit. His ideals, his code, are what truly make him eternal. Batman represents something deeper than the man behind the mask. He is a symbol of hope for Gotham, an idea that transcends the limitations of the human body. Batman's legacy lives on in the people he inspires, in those who take up the mantle of the Bat: Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Terry McGinnis. These successors are proof that Batman is immortal, not because of his physical body, but because his purpose is carried forward by others. His ideals live on, his will to fight for justice lives on, and his spirit can never truly be extinguished. Consider the tale of Terry McGinnis, the new Batman from the Batman Beyond timeline. Bruce Wayne, now an older man, is physically diminished, yet he remains the heart and soul of the Batman legacy. Even in his frailty, Bruce continues to guide Terry, passing on the lessons he has learned through decades of fighting crime. In this future, Bruce Wayne's physical immortality may be gone, but his influence and ideals remain intact. This is a perfect example of how Batman's legacy transcends the limitations of the body. Batman's immortality is not tied to his flesh, but to the enduring impact he has on Gotham and the world. But perhaps the most mysterious aspect of Batman's potential immortality lies in the intangible force that he embodies. Batman is a man driven by vengeance, guilt, and a singular mission. But over time, his identity has become more than the sum of his parts. He has become a living symbol, a force that exists not just in Gotham but in the collective consciousness of the world. His presence, though unseen, is felt wherever justice is needed. And this is the true source of his immortality, not his ability to fight, but his ability to inspire, to give others the courage to take up his mantle. Even when Batman is gone, even when Bruce Wayne's body is finally given out, his mission will continue. As the years pass, as Gotham's skyline changes, Batman's legacy grows stronger. Every generation has its own Batman, someone who takes up the mantle. But the original Batman, the first Bruce Wayne, is never truly gone. He is always there, guiding, protecting, ensuring that Gotham's darkness will always have a light to stand against it. There is, of course, the question of how long Batman can endure. His body, despite his best efforts to maintain it, will eventually give out. The toll of years of physical strain, emotional suffering, and psychological trauma will catch up to him. But the tragedy of Batman's immortality is that he will never allow himself to rest. Even when death seems inevitable, he is bound by the mission, by the promise he made to his parents, and by the city he swore to protect. Batman's immortality lies not in his ability to survive forever, but in his unwavering dedication to his cause, a cause that transcends his own existence. And in that, Batman's immortality is something more than the physical. It is spiritual, psychological, and symbolic. He is a living legend, a man who, in his quest to protect Gotham, has become timeless. His legacy lives on not in his ability to resist death, but in his ability to fight for a cause greater than himself, a cause that will never die. Batman is immortal because no matter what happens to his body, his mission will always continue. There's a peculiar stillness in Gotham, almost as if the city itself is waiting for the inevitable end, or perhaps for something more, something beyond time. And in the shadows, watching over it all, stands Batman, the Dark Knight, Gotham's eternal guardian, a figure whose presence is as constant as the moonlit sky. To some, he is a man with a tragic past, a hero bound by his own moral code. But to others, he's something more, something that cannot be defined by the limits of mere mortality. What if Batman isn't just a symbol or a man driven by vengeance? What if he is something beyond human, something destined to be immortal? It's easy to dismiss the idea of immortality when we think of Batman, especially when considering his physical vulnerabilities. He doesn't have superhuman strength like Superman, nor the regenerative powers of a metahuman. He's a man, bound by the laws of nature. Yet, Gotham itself seems to bend around him, like it knows that without Batman it would fall into an abyss. And this isn't just about crime, it's about the deep-rooted essence of Gotham, a place so drenched in darkness that only a figure like Batman could ever stand against it. Every night, Batman faces challenges that no man could withstand, yet he continues. With each battle, his body grows older, his scars deeper, and his resolve harder. He should be broken, defeated, yet there is something in him that refuses to accept the finality of death. Batman's tenacity is not just human, it's something more, something woven into the very fabric of Gotham itself. Could it be that Gotham has bound him to its fate, that in his never-ending struggle, Batman has become the very heartbeat of the city, and that heartbeat, once ignited, refuses to cease? There are stories told by Gotham's criminal elite, not the common thugs, but the ones who have seen the darkness close up, who have faced the Bat in his coldest form. They tell tales of moments when Batman seemed almost unnatural. There were times, in the depths of battle, when his movements seemed too quick, his resilience too great, and his will too unbreakable. How many times had they thought Batman was finally done, only to find him rise from the ashes, more determined, more dangerous than ever? The criminals, like the Joker, have long tried to break Batman's spirit, to prove that even he can be brought down. But what if they are wrong? What if they are seeing only a piece of the truth? Batman doesn't just come back, he reborns. And it isn't just the city that fights to keep Batman alive. It's the myth of Batman himself. Gotham has an uncanny way of refusing to let go of those who protect it, and Batman is no exception. As though the city needs him, as though it knows its own survival is inextricably linked to the man in the cowl, the Batman. In every corner of Gotham, in the faces of every citizen who has ever walked its streets, there is a silent recognition that Batman is more than just the man who fights crime. He is the spirit of Gotham itself, the embodiment of its refusal to die, of its perpetual struggle against corruption and decay. Could it be that this connection between Batman and Gotham has transcended the mortal coil? That in some way, Batman has been imbued with the city's essence, making him as eternal as the fight he wages. Consider the Lazarus pits, the infamous pools that grant life to those who dip into them. These pools are the source of Ra's al Ghul's centuries-long existence. But what if these pits have something more than just life-restoring power? What if they hold the key to an even deeper secret? One that could reveal that Batman's immortality is not simply tied to magic, but to something more mystical in nature. While Batman has never willingly chosen to immerse himself in these pits, there have been instances where he has come into contact with their strange energy. Could it be that his very connection to Gotham and his endless struggle against darkness has caused him to become entangled with the power of the Lazarus pits in a way that transcends traditional death and rebirth? There are moments in Gotham's history that suggest something otherworldly might be at play. Strange occurrences that defy logic, inexplicable events that seem to surround Batman's every move, his near-death encounters, his brushes with the abyss are too frequent to be mere coincidences. Could Batman have passed through death's door more times than we realize, only to find that death cannot claim him? Not because of the Lazarus pits, not because of technology, but because he has become something more, something that does not belong to the physical realm of life and death. Batman has faced some of the most deadly and dangerous foes the world has ever known, villains who are not only dangerous but psychologically complex. Yet, no matter how many times Batman is pushed to the edge, no matter how brutal the fight, he never truly breaks. It's as though something inside him refuses to accept that he can lose. And every time he defeats a criminal, there is the asterisk faintest sense that he is defeating not just the enemy in front of him, but some greater existential force, a force that seeks to undo him, to prove that even the mightiest are not immortal. Could it be that Batman's immortality is not a gift, but a curse? A curse born of his refusal to die, to move beyond his mission, to find peace. Could Gotham's greatest protector, in his unyielding quest for justice, have locked himself into an endless cycle of rebirth, where death can never come? The more he fights, the more he becomes entrenched in this fight. The more Gotham needs him, the more he becomes bound to it. Perhaps, in his endless struggle, Batman has become bound to Gotham's very existence, his fate forever intertwined with the city he swore to protect. Some have wondered if Batman will ever be able to truly rest. His work, his crusade, seems never-ending. Every night, as the bat signal shines against the sky, the call goes out once again. Gotham's protector never rests, never stops, always watching, always waiting, and in his perpetual vigilance, in his constant battle against the darkness, perhaps Batman has already achieved something close to immortality. Not through superhuman powers, not through magical relics, but through the sheer force of his will, his refusal to be defeated, and his undying commitment to a city that, somehow, seems to have become his own mortal prison and eternal ally. And so, in the stillness of the night, as the shadows stretch and the city falls under its familiar veil of darkness, Batman waits. The fight may never end, but neither will he. In the end, Gotham cannot live without him, and perhaps Batman cannot live without Gotham. Maybe, in some strange and unspoken way, they are both immortal, bound forever in a city that refuses to die, just as its protector refuses to be claimed by the inevitable hand of time. The immortality of Batman lies not in his physical form, but in his legacy, in his eternal presence in the heart of Gotham. A symbol that will never fade, a protector who will never leave. In the depths of Gotham, where the city never sleeps and the shadows stretch endlessly, Batman walks alone. His cape billows in the wind as he watches over the streets, ever vigilant, ever present. But as the city's skyline reflects the fading light of dusk, an unsettling question looms. How is it possible that someone so fragile, someone so distinctly human, could endure for so long in a world brimming with constant danger? The truth, buried beneath layers of myth and mystery, is that Batman may not be the man he once was. His scars tell the story of countless battles, each one more grueling than the last. His body is not invulnerable. It is worn and weary. But despite the endless pain and the toll of time, he continues. There are moments when even the most dangerous criminals of Gotham, the ones who have seen it all, pause. They wonder too. How does he do it? How does he keep coming back, night after night, when others would have fallen long ago? Gotham is a place that seems to thrive on chaos. It's a city where evil doesn't sleep, and its darkest corners are always home to new threats. From the psychotic grin of the Joker to the strategic brilliance of Bane, Gotham breeds nightmares. And yet, despite everything, Batman continues to rise, unwavering in his mission. Some of his most notorious enemies have been taken down time and time again, only to return stronger. But Batman, regardless of his wounds, never truly seems to break. There are those who whisper that Gotham itself is the source of his immortality. Could the city have become a reflection of him, an extension of his will to protect it? Batman's connection to Gotham is unlike any other. The city itself seems to feed off his obsession, his determination, and in return, perhaps Gotham ensures his survival, keeping him tethered to it. As long as the city's darkness persists, so too does Batman, locked in a symbiotic dance, constantly reborn from the wreckage of his own soul. This idea is not one that is easily accepted. After all, Batman is human. His heart beats, his lungs breathe, he ages. But what if his will to protect Gotham is so strong, so all-encompassing, that it transcends the ordinary limits of human endurance? What if Batman's willpower is so entrenched, so deeply rooted in his identity, that it somehow keeps him going when every other man would have fallen long ago? His dedication to the city, a city that, despite its deepest flaws, has become his sole purpose, might be enough to sustain him. Could the very force of his mission have granted him something that goes beyond the boundaries of time? It's not just about the battles he fights, it's about the nature of the war he wages. Batman is engaged in a fight against the inevitable, against decay, against the darkness that seems to creep into every corner of Gotham's streets. His refusal to let go, his unwavering commitment to Gotham's survival, may be the very thing that binds him to the city. Perhaps Gotham is a city that will not allow Batman to die, just as it will never truly be free from the forces that have plagued it for so long. In some strange way, Gotham and Batman are two sides of the same coin, eternally locked in a battle neither can truly escape. But then there is another thought that lingers in the back of the mind, a thought that creeps into the very psyche of Gotham's most dangerous villains. Could Batman be more than just a man? Could he, in some twisted way, have transcended his human limitations? There have been moments, fleeting ones, when even the Joker, the embodiment of chaos, has wondered about the man in the mask. There is something about Batman that is otherworldly, something that doesn't seem to conform to the rules that govern everyone else. Even the most cunning and brutal of Gotham's criminals cannot help but be drawn to him, as though they sense that Batman exists on a different plane. Take the Joker, for example. Their endless game of cat and mouse is not just about crime or control, it's about something far deeper. The Joker is obsessed with breaking Batman, with proving that even he is not invulnerable. But the Joker, despite all his attempts, cannot break Batman. Batman's resilience defies all logic. He is beaten, broken, and pushed to his limits. Yet every time, he comes back. Is it possible that the Joker, in his madness, is seeking not just to defeat Batman, but to understand him? Could he sense that Batman's defiance of death, his unyielding will to protect Gotham, is something that defies the natural laws of the world they both inhabit? In the most desperate of moments, when all seems lost, when the darkness closes in around him, Batman finds a way to survive. His mind, sharp as a blade, has crafted countless contingency plans, strategies to deal with any threat, any obstacle. Yet even as his body weakens, it is his mind that has led him to this point, that has kept him alive when every other man would have been buried beneath the weight of Gotham's crime. It's his obsessive preparation, his relentless will to outsmart his enemies, that ensures Batman never stays down for long. But is this mere intellectual resilience, or is it something more? Could Batman's mind have become so attuned to his mission that it has become a part of the city's very fabric, inextricably linked to its existence? One of the most compelling arguments against the idea of Batman's immortality is the toll that his endless war has taken on his body. He is broken, his body aches, his muscles tear, and his bones creak under the strain of years of violent battles. Yet, even in his greatest moments of pain, Batman never falters. It is said that the human body can only withstand so much before it succumbs to wear and tear, but Batman continues to push through, to endure, to fight. Is it his body that fights, or is it his spirit? His resilience, his will to protect Gotham, may not be a matter of physical endurance at all. Perhaps it is something deeper, something that cannot be measured by the limitations of flesh. As the city sleeps, wrapped in its perpetual cloak of night, the shadows cast by the Gotham skyline seem to stretch longer, darker, as if they too were waiting for something to unfold. In the deepest, most desolate corners of Gotham, the rumors persist, whispered from one criminal to another, from one ally to the next. Gotham's greatest protector, the Dark Knight, is said to be more than a man. In the cold breath of the evening air, there's an unspoken understanding that Batman, despite the brutal toll of time, refuses to fade into the obscurity of mortality. But what if, in the silence of Gotham's most forsaken places, there is a truth buried deep, one that even Batman himself has yet to fully grasp? It is said that Gotham's darkness fuels him. The city, with its twisted maze of streets, its corruption running like veins through every building and alley, has become something of a living entity, and in a strange way, it needs Batman as much as he needs it. The shadows, the corruption, the rot that seems to permeate every brick, every forgotten corner. These are the very things that give Batman's mission its weight. Gotham's underbelly cannot exist without the light of the bat, and so it bends, twists, to make sure that the protector can never truly be extinguished. But what if this connection between Batman and Gotham runs deeper than anyone could have ever imagined? Could the city itself have a dark pact with its most enduring guardian? It's a theory that has existed in the minds of some of Gotham's most dangerous criminals. The Joker, in his obsession with breaking Batman, has come dangerously close to uncovering the truth behind his adversary's persistence. Could it be that Gotham's darkness has reached out to touch him? That in his quest to save the city, Batman has become bound to its very soul, trapped in an eternal cycle that never truly allows him to die? What would it mean if Gotham itself held the key to Batman's immortality? Not through mysticism or some supernatural force, but through something more intrinsic, more subtle. Batman's unyielding will to protect Gotham, his endless obsession with righting the wrongs of the city, could have created an energy that flows between him and the place he has sworn to defend. Gotham needs Batman. Batman needs Gotham. But as the years pass and Gotham continues to descend into madness and chaos, could this connection between man and city have become something greater, something eternal? The signs are all there, if one knows how to look. Batman is always there. No matter how many times the city changes, he returns, unbroken, even when it seems that the weight of the world should have crushed him long ago. He has fought through injuries, has endured pain that would leave any other person unable to stand. He has faced foes who have pushed him to the edge of death, yet somehow each time he emerges from the darkness stronger, more determined. Some say it's sheer willpower. Batman's mind, sharp as a blade, overcoming the limitations of his body. Others believe it's a more mysterious force, a force tied not to Batman's strength, but to the city's desperate need for him. The Joker, a creature of pure chaos, may have gotten closer to understanding this connection than anyone else. There are moments when his mind, so intricately twisted, has seemed to piece together the puzzle of Batman's immortality. The Joker has tested Batman in every conceivable way, but no matter how far he pushes, Batman always rises. Could it be that the Joker knows something the world doesn't? That Batman, the man who seemingly can't be killed, has transcended his humanity, not through any physical means, but through the bond he shares with the city itself. That Gotham has become a part of him, as much as he is a part of it. There's a story in Gotham's criminal underworld, a story that has survived for generations, passed from one criminal to the next. It's the story of the first time Gotham broke Batman. It was a dark night, darker than usual, with a storm raging across the city. Batman was caught off guard, overwhelmed by forces he could not anticipate. For the first time in his life, the Bat was pushed to the brink of death. He died, they say. His body was found, cold, lifeless. But the city, Gotham, couldn't let him go. Something happened that night. The storm that raged over the city grew still, and the night air seemed to whisper his name. It was as though the city had recognized his sacrifice, felt the weight of his death, and refused to allow him to rest. Could this be the moment Batman was truly reborn, bound to Gotham in a way no one could understand? Some say it's this connection, this unholy link between Batman and the city that has kept him alive. It's why he can't truly die. No matter the wounds, no matter the trauma, Batman rises again and again, as if Gotham itself demands his return. The criminals of Gotham, the ones who have studied him for years, are the first to realize that there's something unnatural about Batman's persistence. They've seen him fall only to rise again, like some dark figure who cannot be undone. Then there's the matter of his true identity. Bruce Wayne, the man beneath the mask, the man who lost everything, who is constantly haunted by the death of his parents. But what if Bruce Wayne's real battle isn't just against crime? What if his true battle is against something more insidious, the very nature of his existence? Is he, as some have suggested, trapped? Is it possible that by dedicating his life to Gotham, he has trapped himself in a loop, one that keeps him alive as long as Gotham remains in darkness? Could Batman's mission be a curse, one that allows him to never die, but at the cost of his own humanity, his own peace? There are days in the quiet moments when Gotham is at peace, a rare occasion, when Batman wonders this himself. Am I bound to this city forever? He thinks, his mind drifting to the quiet depths of his own soul. Could it be that the city is not just his battleground but his prison as well? Could it be that Gotham has claimed him in a way that goes beyond mere symbolism? As long as the city is entrenched in chaos, will Batman remain its eternal protector, never allowed to rest? But if Gotham's darkness is Batman's curse, then perhaps it is also his salvation. The city needs him, and in return, it keeps him going, keeps him in the fight. And in this fight, perhaps Batman has become more than a man. Perhaps, in his quest for justice, he has inadvertently become one with the city, trapped in an endless cycle of protection, of war, of darkness and light. His immortality isn't in his ability to avoid death, it's in his connection to Gotham itself, a bond so deep, so inexplicable, that even death cannot sever it. Batman has faced many things over the years. He has defeated monsters, criminals, and foes who have bent the world to their will. But what if the true enemy is time itself? What if Batman's immortality is not something he can conquer, but something he must learn to accept? As long as Gotham is alive, so too will Batman be, a shadow in the night, an eternal force that will continue to battle, continue to protect, until the city finally finds peace, or until it finally consumes him. There is an unsettling quiet that sometimes falls over Gotham, a silence that seems to hold its breath, waiting for something or someone to break it. The chaos that defines the city ebbs for a moment, and in that stillness, Batman watches. From the highest rooftops, the shadows cling to him as though they were his closest companions, his mind forever calculating, forever vigilant. But what if, in those moments of stillness, there's something more beneath the surface? What if Batman's eternal fight has not only bound him to Gotham, but to the very fabric of time itself? Throughout his entire existence, Batman has been defined by his refusal to accept death, his refusal to accept the end. But is this refusal born out of sheer will, or is it a deeper, more cosmic force that compels him to keep going, to keep fighting no matter the toll on his body, on his soul? The city's darkness has always held sway over him, shaping his every decision, every movement, every fight. But could it also be that Gotham's dark soul has something even more profound to offer, a form of immortality, not through the resurrection of the body, but through the undying persistence of the will? Consider the lives of the most dangerous villains Batman has faced. The Joker, Ra's al Ghul, and others each have something in common: they cannot be easily destroyed. The Joker, a creature of pure anarchy, is as much a part of Gotham as Batman himself. And yet, despite their endless encounters, despite Batman's victories, the Joker always returns. Ra's al Ghul, with his access to the Lazarus pits, seems to be the epitome of immortality, and yet, even in his immortality, he cannot escape the cycles of life and death. Batman, in his refusal to kill, in his relentless pursuit of justice, exists in the same cyclical pattern where victory and defeat blur together in an eternal, unbreakable loop. There are those who say that the very nature of Gotham's corruption is what keeps Batman tethered to it, and that perhaps it is this corruption, this deep and inescapable evil, that is the key to his immortality. Gotham cannot exist without Batman, and perhaps Batman, in some way, cannot exist without Gotham. Their fates have become intertwined, bound to one another by forces both seen and unseen. What if the city, in its endless need for a protector, has somehow bound Batman to its fate, ensuring that as long as Gotham remains, so too will its guardian? In a strange twist of irony, Batman's endless struggle against the darkness has become the very thing that keeps him alive. His presence, his fight, the embodiment of Gotham's refusal to die. But there are darker theories, whispers in the most shadowed corners of Gotham's underworld. Some say that the immortality of Batman goes beyond his will or his connection to the city. What if Batman himself has unlocked the secret of eternal life, not through physical means, but through something far more mysterious, something hidden deep within the core of his mission? Could the very obsession that drives Batman, his dedication to his cause, his refusal to let Gotham fall, be the thing that has, over time, transformed him? Perhaps in his relentless pursuit, he has crossed a threshold, one where time no longer applies to him. His body may age, his muscles may weaken, but his mind, his will never falters. Could Batman have, over time, become something greater than the man who once was Bruce Wayne? The idea seems absurd, even impossible. Batman is human, after all, and humans are bound by time. But Batman, in his eternal battle against the forces that threaten Gotham, has become something of a myth, a legend. He is no longer just a man. He is a symbol, a force of nature that has taken on a life of its own. Perhaps it is not just the city that needs him, but something deeper, something that even Batman himself may not fully understand. What if Batman's existence is tied to the city's soul, and as long as the battle rages, he remains an indomitable force? There are strange moments in Gotham's history that hint at a deeper mystery, moments when time seems to stretch, when reality itself seems to bend. There are instances when Batman has faced the impossible, when he has been pushed to the brink of death. And yet, in the most unimaginable circumstances, he returns. What if these moments are not just coincidences, but signs of a greater truth, one that Batman's own mind cannot fully comprehend? Could it be that in his journey, Batman has tapped into a power beyond human limits, something tied not to the physical world, but to the very fabric of time and space itself. In the deepest parts of Gotham, there are those who claim to have witnessed things that defy logic, things that no mortal man should ever endure. They speak of Batman's unnatural ability to survive, his willingness to face death over and over again. What if, in his desire to save Gotham, Batman's own soul has been marked, trapped in an eternal loop of rebirth? In his quest to save the city, he has inadvertently locked himself into a pattern where time no longer has power over him, where death cannot claim him, and where his purpose continues undeterred. It's not just the criminals who recognize this. Gotham itself knows. The streets, the skyline, the very air seems to hum with the energy of Batman's presence. There is a strange, almost mystical connection between the city and its protector. Gotham thrives on chaos, but it also thrives on the fact that Batman is always there, always ready to fight, always ready to rise. This connection goes beyond mere duty. It is something eternal, something that holds Gotham and Batman in its grasp, refusing to let either one die. And yet, there are moments when Batman himself questions it. In the quietest hours of the night, when the city is still and the only sound is the wind howling through the rooftops, Batman looks into the darkness and wonders, am I immortal? Could it be that his unyielding battle, his obsession with justice, has bound him to the very fabric of Gotham? Could it be that his fight has become a part of the city's eternal soul, that Gotham cannot exist without him, and he cannot exist without Gotham? As Batman stands atop the tallest building in the city, watching the shadows stretch long below, he understands one thing: his mission is eternal. Gotham's war against crime, corruption, and decay will never end. And as long as that war rages, so too will Batman's fight, endless, unbroken. Gotham may not need Batman's physical presence, but it needs the very essence of what he represents: justice, resilience, and the eternal fight against the darkness. And perhaps, in that eternal struggle, lies the truth. Batman may never truly die, not because he is invincible, but because Gotham refuses to let him go. In the fight for the soul of the city, Batman has become the embodiment of its unyielding will to survive, forever locked in an unbreakable cycle, a cycle that will continue as long as the city stands. And so, in the deep, unspoken corners of Gotham, the legend persists. Batman is immortal, not in body, but in spirit, and in the eternal battle against the darkness that will never cease. As the endless cycle of Gotham's chaos continues and the shadows stretch into the dark corners of the city, Batman's existence remains an enigma, a riddle that has no answer, yet an undeniable truth. There is something undying about him, something that refuses to be extinguished, no matter how many times he faces death. The mysteries surrounding his immortality, or at least his refusal to die, grow more complex with every passing day. In the streets below, where Gotham's most dangerous criminals roam freely, there is a sense of inevitability when it comes to Batman. He will always be there, even as time wears on, even as the years stack up, and even as the city itself decays further. For the criminals of Gotham, the idea of Batman's immortality is a strange, unsettling thought. They've seen him break, they've seen him fail, but never truly fall. Even when they think they have finally brought him to his knees, when they've shattered his body, when they've tested his limits, he always rises again. The Joker has come the closest to understanding this, his twisted obsession with Batman crossing over from merely defeating him to questioning the very nature of his eternal existence. Each time the Joker tries to push Batman into madness, into destruction, he finds himself facing the same Batman, relentless, unwavering, untouched by the chaos that surrounds him. But this constant battle isn't just a matter of survival. It's a cycle of rebirth, a cycle in which Batman constantly renews himself, drawing strength not from the body that is worn and battered, but from the spirit of his mission. Gotham doesn't just need Batman physically, it needs his ideals, his determination, his refusal to submit. The city's problems are never just about one criminal after another. They are systemic, deeply rooted in corruption, poverty, and despair. Batman's continued presence in Gotham, despite everything, is the only constant. As long as Gotham needs him, as long as the darkness continues to consume it, Batman's eternal commitment is what sustains the city. There is a mysterious force at play, a force that keeps Batman going, even when the world around him seems to crumble. What is it that has kept him alive? What is it that prevents his body from succumbing to the toll of his mission? Perhaps it's not just his will to fight, but something deeper, something that transcends the physical limitations of the human form. His battle is not only against criminals, but against the very fabric of time itself. Gotham's unrelenting decay and the violence of its streets have become tied to Batman's purpose. He is Gotham's protector, and Gotham is his eternal mission. The mysticism surrounding Gotham can't be ignored. The city itself seems to defy the natural order of things, much like Batman does. It's a city defined by its brokenness, yet it cannot exist without its protector. Batman is a part of Gotham, just as the darkness is a part of him. The very nature of the city has evolved into something that is both a battleground and a reflection of Batman's soul. In this warped symbiosis, Gotham feeds on Batman's mission, just as Batman feeds on the city's need for justice. Could Gotham be more than just a city? Could it be a place where time itself is distorted, where Batman's presence is not a mere coincidence, but a natural element of the city's existence? There are those who believe that Batman's immortality is not a gift but a curse. He is trapped in an eternal struggle, one that he cannot escape, no matter how hard he tries. Perhaps this is the true tragedy of his existence, a man who cannot die because the city will never allow it. Gotham is a place of endless violence and suffering, and its protector will always rise again to face the next threat. There is no peace for Batman, no escape from the darkness that defines Gotham. He is not just a hero but a symbol, a representation of the city's refusal to give up, to break free from its endless cycle of crime and corruption. As time continues its relentless march, Batman's body will continue to show signs of age and decay. The weariness of years spent battling an ever-growing wave of criminals will eventually catch up with him. But what if, by this point, Batman is no longer a man at all? What if, after years of constant struggle, his mind and spirit have become so entrenched in the mission that they have transcended his physical form? There is a sense, a strange intuition, that suggests that Batman's immortality is not defined by his physicality, but by the energy he gives off, the eternal drive to protect Gotham, no matter the cost. What if his immortality is a product of his relentless mission, one that he cannot and will not abandon? The criminals of Gotham have often underestimated Batman. They believe he is merely a man who wears a mask, who uses technology and strategy to fight crime. But the truth, something they only begin to understand after facing him time and time again, is that Batman is more than a man. He is a force of nature, one that cannot be stopped. Even in his most vulnerable moments, When his body breaks down and he is pushed beyond human limits, his will keeps him going. It's not his body that has kept him alive for so long. It's his undying will, his relentless pursuit of justice, his obsession with Gotham's survival. Batman is not bound by the laws of nature. He is bound by his mission, and in that mission, he has become something eternal. In every dark corner of Gotham, Batman's presence looms, even when he is not physically there. The city feels his absence when he's gone, and criminals know his return is inevitable. He is not just a man in a cape. He is the very spirit of Gotham, its protector, its symbol of hope. Batman's immortality is not in his flesh. It's in the unwavering strength of his spirit, his refusal to give in, his eternal battle against the darkness. And as long as the darkness exists, so will Batman, for Gotham cannot live without him, and Batman cannot die as long as the fight persists. And so, with every passing night, as Batman stands at the edge of Gotham's skyline, watching over a city that never changes, the question persists. Can Batman ever truly die? Is his immortality a product of fate, of the unyielding bond between him and Gotham? Or is it simply the result of a man who refuses to give up, who fights not just for justice, but for the very soul of the city he swore to protect? As the fog rolls in over Gotham, heavy with the stench of decay and the whispers of a city constantly teetering on the edge of madness, Batman continues his eternal vigil. The city, in its cold and relentless way, seems to breathe around him, just as Batman breathes for it. He is its protector, its silent guardian, but as time wears on, there comes the unsettling realization that perhaps Batman's true battle is not against Gotham's criminals, but against the passage of time itself. The strange thing about Batman's immortality is not just that he never seems to stay down, it's that his presence, his will, appears to be tied to something beyond himself. The city of Gotham itself, with its eternal struggle between light and dark, good and evil, life and death, has become his unwitting companion. There is an inexplicable force that binds Batman to the city, a force that is both unseen and unfathomable. As Gotham endures, so does Batman, and as long as the city's streets remain filled with danger and its sky forever clouded with storms, Batman will continue to stand watch. But what if this bond runs deeper than anyone has ever considered? What if Batman, in his obsessive pursuit of justice, has inadvertently entered a cycle, one that has made him a permanent fixture in the city's existence? Could Batman's immortality lie not in his ability to fight, but in the very nature of his mission? What if, over the years, Batman's struggle has become so intertwined with Gotham's fate that it is impossible to separate the two? The concept of immortality is often tied to living forever, a gift that defies time and death. But in Batman's case, it might be something far more subtle. It's not just his body that endures, it's his presence. His relentless commitment to Gotham has given him an energy that keeps him tethered to the city, as if he has become an extension of it. Every time he faces death, whether through the brutality of his enemies, the insurmountable odds, or the wear and tear of battle, Batman rises again. He never truly stays dead, not because of his physical abilities, but because Gotham will not allow him to die. Gotham needs Batman, just as it needs the chaos and crime that shape its soul, and Batman, in his endless drive to protect it, has become just as eternal as the city itself. There are stories, rumors that circulate among Gotham's criminals, those who have seen the Bat in action, who have felt his presence in the shadows. They say that there's something about him that is unnatural, something about the way he can withstand impossible odds, rise from the ashes of defeat, and continue his battle against the darkness. How is it that Batman has outlived so many of his adversaries? How does he persist, even when his body shows the signs of age, even when his spirit is tested beyond comprehension? The answer, they believe, is that Batman's immortality lies not in his body, but in his soul. His soul has been bound to Gotham's darkness, just as his physical form is tied to the city's streets. The sacrifices he's made, the endless nights spent in battle, have etched him into the very core of Gotham. He is more than just a man. He is a living embodiment of the city's struggle, forever locked in a dance with death, fear, and chaos. Each time Gotham needs him, Batman is there, not because of his choice, but because he has become as much a part of the city as the criminals he fights. He is Gotham's soul, and Gotham cannot be free without him. What's most disturbing about this is that Batman is trapped. His immortality is not something he can control, nor is it a blessing. In fact, it might be a curse that keeps him locked in an endless cycle of conflict, one that forces him to never rest. Batman cannot die, not because he has conquered time, but because Gotham's battle against the darkness will never cease. As long as Gotham is in chaos, Batman will fight, and as long as Batman fights, Gotham will remain trapped in the cycle of crime and corruption. He is both the city's salvation and its damnation. In the quiet, solitary moments of his existence, when Batman stands alone in the Batcave, staring at the shadows that stretch before him, he can't help but wonder, is this my fate? Is he destined to be Gotham's protector forever, never able to break free, never able to find peace? Each time he fights, each time he defeats another criminal, he knows the victory is only temporary. There is no end. There is no moment when Gotham will be free of crime and darkness. And so Batman continues, an eternal sentinel, bound to a city that will never rest. What if this eternal battle has become his true prison? Could it be that Gotham's needs, its unseen power, have turned Batman into something that transcends human understanding? Perhaps Batman's immortality is not just tied to the city's fight against crime, but to the very heart of Gotham itself. The more he sacrifices, the more deeply bound he becomes to it. And in the end, when Gotham finally falls silent, when the battle is done, it will not be Batman who emerges victorious. It will be the city itself, and Batman will be the last thing standing, the final echo of a city that can never truly be free. The nights in Gotham grow colder as time marches forward, but Batman's mission remains unyielding. It's as if the city itself is locked in a state of perpetual twilight, neither fully dark nor light, always in need of its protector. Batman, the man who has given up everything, whose very soul seems bound to the city's fate, continues to stand sentinel, a figure whose presence transcends the limits of time and mortality. What is it about Batman that allows him to endure where others would falter? Is it simply his refusal to give up? Or has his connection to Gotham grown to something far beyond human comprehension? It's a thought that lingers, not just in the darkest corners of Gotham's streets, but in the hearts of those who fight alongside him, those who watch his every move. Has Batman, in his never-ending battle, become something more than human? The city itself is beginning to feel like a living entity, pulsating with the same unrelenting energy that keeps Batman fighting. Gotham needs him, and in turn, he needs Gotham. But it's not just about the criminals that lurk in its alleyways, or the corruption that festers in its government. There's a deeper, more fundamental connection between Batman and the city, one that stretches through time and space itself. Could it be that Gotham has somehow given Batman a piece of itself, binding his very existence to the city's survival? The criminal underworld, aware of Batman's indomitable persistence, begins to take notice. Every criminal Batman defeats seems to return stronger, more determined, more dangerous. But even as these foes grow in power, they are never truly able to destroy Batman. They push him to his limits. They test his resolve, yet he continues to stand. Could it be that they, too, sense that Batman's immortality is something more than mere willpower? Could they understand, deep down, that he is as much a part of Gotham as they are? It is said that Gotham's deepest fears and darkest desires are mirrored in its protector. Batman is a man born of tragedy, of pain and loss, but also of unwavering dedication. Perhaps Gotham, with its infinite layers of mystery and madness, has somehow transformed Batman, shaping him into a being of eternal endurance. What if his true nature isn't simply that of a man fighting crime, but of a spiritual force bound to the city itself? Could Gotham be the source of Batman's immortality, feeding off his will to protect it, his unwavering fight against corruption? Some of Gotham's most dangerous criminals have commented, in hushed voices, that Batman has become something untouchable. His immortal spirit, the essence of who he is, transcends the man behind the mask. It is said that, even in his darkest moments, Batman cannot be fully defeated, not because of the technology he wields or the skills he has perfected, but because he is simply too ingrained into the fabric of the city to be erased. Think of the Lazarus pits, the mystical pools that have given Ra's al Ghul his centuries of life, and the endless renewal of those he immerses within them. Could Batman, though he has never sought them out, have already unlocked the key to his own form of immortality? Not through external forces, but through his eternal will to never let Gotham fall. What if, in his obsession to save Gotham, he has unknowingly transformed into something beyond a man, something that cannot die, something that remains as long as Gotham needs him? His endurance goes beyond the physical. When he is beaten, when his body is broken, Batman doesn't just rise from the ashes. He becomes something greater, something that Gotham needs. It's as if the will of the city cannot function without its protector. Gotham cannot exist without Batman, just as Batman cannot exist without Gotham. He is the eternal sentinel, the ever-present shadow, and his immortality lies not in his ability to avoid death, but in his unrelenting devotion to the city that gave him purpose. In the stillness of the night, when Batman stands at the precipice of the highest building, overlooking the sprawling city beneath him, he feels it, the weight of eternity. It is the weight of Gotham's unspoken bond, of a city that has swallowed him whole and has never let him go. His battles, his struggles, seem endless, not because they are hard, but because Gotham will never stop needing him. Each time he stands against the forces of evil, he is not just defending the city's streets, but he is defending his very existence. Without Gotham, Batman would cease to be. And so, his immortality is tied to the city's fate. As long as Gotham suffers, so too will Batman endure. But in a strange, unspoken way, this is his curse. The cycle that has defined Gotham for so long continues. The criminals rise, Batman fights, and Gotham's wounds grow deeper, but so does Batman's resolve. Is it possible that the cycle itself has become Batman's purpose, that with every act of heroism, with every victory against the darkness, he becomes more entangled with the city, more immortal in a sense that no one fully understands. Perhaps in the end, Batman is the city itself, a manifestation of Gotham's refusal to die, and so his immortality is not just physical, but metaphysical. And so, the battle rages on. The streets remain as dangerous as ever, but Batman, the eternal protector, stands watch. His physical body may grow frail with time, his muscles may ache from years of combat, but his spirit, his indomitable spirit, remains unbroken. As long as Gotham fights its internal demons, as long as its criminals plague the streets, Batman will rise, night after night, to face them once more. The question is not whether Batman will ever die, but rather how long the city will need him, and whether, in the end, the cycle can ever truly end. The wind howls through Gotham's streets, carrying with it the whispers of a city that never sleeps, a city that is constantly on the edge, always trembling between chaos and order. And in the heart of that city, standing tall and unwavering, is Batman, the embodiment of its dark, eternal struggle. It is in the quiet, unseen moments that the truth of Batman's existence becomes more apparent. A truth that many have yet to understand. Batman's immortality is not simply a matter of his will to survive, but of his unbreakable bond to Gotham itself. To call Batman immortal is to say that his presence in the city has become inseparable from the city's own survival. As long as Gotham's darkness thrives, so too does Batman, a symbol born from the shadows, untouched by time and ever present in its need for a protector. In a way, it is not Batman's body that endures, but his mission, his purpose, which refuses to fade as Gotham's battle rages on. What if Gotham's soul itself is intertwined with Batman's, so much so that the two cannot exist without each other? Gotham is defined by its perpetual fight against chaos, and so too is Batman defined by his eternal struggle to keep it at bay. But what happens when Gotham's darkness becomes too much for any one man, no matter how relentless? Batman has seen every corner of this city, every evil, every corrupt soul, and yet, like the city itself, he never rests. Gotham feeds on the chaos, and Batman feeds on Gotham's need for him. But in that, there's an unsettling truth. Perhaps Gotham's endless cycle of corruption is what sustains Batman. The darkness that fuels Gotham's crimes is the same darkness that fuels Batman's crusade, and as long as Gotham needs him, Batman's existence remains inescapable. Consider this: Gotham is more than just a backdrop for Batman's journey. It is a living, breathing entity in its own right, with its own pulse, its own heartbeat. The streets of Gotham, dark and haunting, have seen the rise and fall of countless criminals and heroes alike. Yet, Batman remains, not just as a man, but as something eternal. Gotham, in all its corrupt glory, refuses to let him go, just as it refuses to free itself from the grip of darkness. Could it be that Batman is as much a part of Gotham as Gotham is a part of him? That the city's need for its protector is so deeply rooted that it keeps him alive, forever bound to its shadows, forever guarding it against the tide of corruption. Gotham's criminals have long tried to understand Batman's enduring nature. The Joker, more than anyone, has taken an obsessive interest in Batman's existence. His chaotic mind constantly seeks to break Batman, to unravel the very fabric of his resolve. Yet, the more Joker tries, the more he realizes Batman cannot be defeated, not because of his physical strength, but because of the mission that drives him. It's as if Batman is not just a man, but an infinite force, something that cannot be destroyed. Each time the Joker believes he has pushed Batman to the brink of madness, Batman simply returns, more focused, more determined. Joker cannot defeat Batman because the city itself will not allow it. Could it be that Batman's immortality is a reflection of Gotham's own need for him? The city has become so steeped in chaos and despair that it cannot function without the balance he provides. Batman, in all his torment and anguish, has become the center of Gotham's struggle, holding its fragile soul together, keeping it from completely falling into madness. Without him, Gotham would slip into an abyss it could never climb out of. And so Batman continues his eternal vigil, night after night, the unyielding force in a city defined by its unyielding need for him. There are moments when the city seems to respond to Batman's presence, when the shadows seem to whisper his name, when the very streets feel as though they are alive with his energy. Could it be that Batman has become a part of the city's essence, so tied to it that he cannot escape its grasp, even if he wanted to? As Gotham changes, as it decays, as new threats emerge, Batman's mission remains unchanged. Gotham needs him just as much as he needs Gotham. It is an unbreakable bond that stretches through time. Each victory Batman achieves, each criminal he captures, only ensures that his role in the city's survival continues. Batman is both the protector and the prisoner of Gotham, eternally caught in the cycle of light and darkness, order and chaos. But what does it mean for a man to be trapped in such a cycle? To never truly rest, to constantly fight, knowing that the end will never come. Batman's immortality may be his greatest curse, for even as the city changes, he remains the constant. Every time he defeats a criminal, every time he stops a plot, the darkness simply shifts. It's as though Gotham cannot exist without its battle, without its protector. And Batman, ever faithful to his mission, continues to fight, knowing that as long as the city breathes, so too will his endless struggle. Perhaps, though, Batman's immortality is not tied to time, but to legacy. As Gotham's most powerful criminal forces rise, as new figures emerge, Batman's legacy will carry on. His mission becomes bigger than him. Even if Batman were to fall, there would always be someone to rise in his place, someone who understands the infinite struggle that Gotham represents. The bat signal will always shine in the night sky, as long as Gotham's fight for survival continues. And perhaps that is the true immortality, the knowledge that no matter what happens to him, Batman's symbol, his mission, and his legacy will continue, always burning brightly in the dark heart of the city. In the deepest recesses of the Batcave, as he stands before the countless monitors, Batman contemplates his place in the grand scheme of things. Does he fight for justice? Or does he fight for something more? Is he simply a man caught in the tides of fate, or is he the eternal guardian of a city that cannot survive without him? Could it be that, over time, Batman has become something that transcends human limitations, a force that cannot be destroyed, tied to the very soul of Gotham? As Batman stands in silence, knowing the city never truly sleeps, one thing becomes clear: his fight is far from over. Whether it's against Gotham's criminals or the weight of time itself, Batman's immortality is not about escaping death, but about being the eternal protector. Gotham cannot live without him, and as long as the city's darkness persists, so too will Batman's fight against it. In the end, Batman's immortality is a question not of his body, but of his unwavering will, his refusal to let go of Gotham, and his eternal commitment to the mission. As the years pass, as the darkness creeps ever closer, Batman's eternity will endure, a silent sentinel, forever bound to the city that gave him life. As the days blur into one another, Gotham's skyline flickers in the dimming light, casting long shadows over its streets. There's a strange stillness hanging in the air, a calm before the storm, as if the city itself is holding its breath. In the distance, the bat signal illuminates the clouds, casting a piercing light against the murk of Gotham's eternal night. Batman, the undying sentinel, stands at the edge of the tallest building, his cape fluttering in the wind, his mind always calculating, always preparing for the next move. But there is something different about tonight, something that feels, what if this is the night that reveals the true nature of Batman's existence? What if tonight marks the final revelation, the moment when Batman understands the true cost of his immortality, the price of his eternal struggle? He has spent years protecting Gotham, waging his personal war against crime. But what if the true enemy isn't the criminals lurking in the shadows, but the dark force that has bound him to Gotham's fate? Each time Batman faces the Joker, or Bane, or Ra's al Ghul, it's as though he is locked in a dance of fate. His enemies rise, they fight, they fall, but Batman remains, immovable, unchanging. Gotham may change around him, its streets may shift, and its criminals may evolve, but Batman is always there. He is Gotham's constant, its eternal shadow, its immortal protector. But what does it mean to be eternal in a city that never rests? Gotham is a place of contradictions, a city that cannot exist without the very chaos it breeds, a city that thrives on the struggle between light and dark. Could it be that Gotham's darkness has somehow become intertwined with Batman's spirit, feeding off his resolve, his obsession to protect it? It's as if Gotham needs Batman as much as Batman needs Gotham, a synergy of mission and fate that cannot be undone. As the night deepens and Gotham's skyline flickers beneath him, Batman knows that his fight is endless. His body may grow tired, his wounds may deepen, but he continues to rise, as Gotham rises again and again from the ashes of its own chaos. But what if, in his unyielding will to protect the city, Batman has become more than just a man? What if he is not just Gotham's protector, but the very embodiment of its eternal struggle against darkness? Each time Batman defeats a villain, pushes the boundaries of what's possible, or survives near-death encounters, it becomes clear he cannot be defined by the rules that bind mortals. Batman's immortality isn't a matter of physical strength, nor is it the result of some miraculous power. It is the product of a connection, a bond between the man and the city that has become so deeply rooted that it can never be severed. Gotham, in its own way, has claimed Batman as its eternal defender. But in this unbroken bond, in this cycle of rise and fall, there lies a dark truth. Gotham will never be free. Not as long as Batman exists. The city's very essence is defined by its chaos, and Batman's immortality is tied to that chaos. Perhaps this is why Batman cannot rest, because as long as Gotham suffers, he will never be able to escape the curse of his mission. Each time he defeats an enemy, another rises to take their place. Each time he saves one soul, another is lost to the city's darkness. Is this the price of immortality? A never-ending cycle where the protector is locked in an eternal struggle, unable to move beyond the war he fights. As Batman gazes over Gotham's skyline, the realization begins to dawn on him. He may never be free. His life, his mission, has become a cycle of renewal, a vicious loop that feeds off his very purpose. Gotham needs him, and Batman, in turn, has become so deeply intertwined with its fate that he cannot escape it. There is a question that lingers in the back of his mind. Is this the true nature of his immortality? He is no longer just the man who lost his parents. He is not simply Bruce Wayne, the billionaire, the playboy, the philanthropist. He is Batman, a symbol of hope and despair, light and darkness, a figure caught in the eternal struggle between the two. He has become the very thing he fights against, locked in a cycle that will never end. And in that, there is both tragedy and purpose. The Gotham, in its infinite need for protection, will never be free. And Batman, bound by his own oath, will never rest. The immortality he has come to embody is not just a gift, but a curse that ensures that he will fight forever, never able to fully escape the very thing that defines him. As Gotham breathes, so too does Batman. And in the shadows their eternal dance continues, a fight that will never end, a struggle that will never cease. In this ever-shifting world of darkness and light, Batman's immortality is not merely a physical truth, but a metaphysical one. He is bound to the city, forever connected to its soul, forever fighting its endless war. And as long as Gotham remains, so too will Batman. His immortal essence, his relentless drive, ensures that he will never rest, even as the years wear on. This perhaps is his true purpose, not to bring peace, not to end the battle, but to forever fight, to remain the eternal protector, as long as Gotham breathes its last breath. As Gotham's skyline fades into the mist, the city below continues its eternal pulse, a beat that seems to echo through the very bones of the streets. The darkness within it, always persistent, never truly yields, and standing at the forefront of that darkness, as he has always done, is Batman. To the casual observer, he is nothing more than a man, albeit a man with unparalleled skill, resources, and an undying commitment to protect a city that never seems to rest. But to those who dare to dig deeper, to those who have witnessed his relentless fight night after night, the truth becomes increasingly undeniable. Batman is more than just a man, more than just a protector. He is the guardian of Gotham's very soul, an eternal force tied to the city's heartbeat. The idea of Batman's immortality goes beyond the superficial notion of time and age. For as long as Gotham has stood, so too has Batman's mission remained unchanged. Despite the wounds that have marred his body, the endless battles that have taken their toll, Batman continues to rise, not just from physical harm, but from the cumulative weight of the city's struggles, the deep, raw despair that has shaped him as both a hero and a symbol. In a way, Batman has become the embodiment of Gotham's fight against its own decay. He is its eternal protector, and in this role, he has become immortal. The criminals he faces, the ones who have studied him and tried to break him, know this truth better than anyone. Batman is no ordinary man, they say. There's something about him that cannot be explained, something that defies logic and defies the very rules of nature. Time itself seems to bend around him, allowing him to rise from defeat and continue fighting the same endless war. The Joker, Batman's greatest adversary, has spent years trying to break him, to push him to the point of madness, only to be confronted by a Batman who refuses to bend, who refuses to yield. Could the Joker, in all his madness, know the secret that even Batman himself is unaware of? There are theories that Batman has become more than a man, more than the sum of his parts. What if his dedication to Gotham has changed him, has somehow tied him to the city in a way that makes him immortal? Perhaps, in his refusal to ever give up, in his constant rise from the ashes, Batman has become entangled with Gotham's very soul, creating an unbreakable bond that ensures he will never fade. In his darkest moments, Batman may wonder if this is a curse or a gift. But what he cannot deny is the undeniable truth. Gotham's need for him keeps him alive, keeps him in a state of eternal vigilance. Consider the way the city itself responds to Batman's presence. There is something strange about Gotham. It is a city that thrives on chaos, yet somehow always seems to survive. But it is also a city that feeds off its protector, a city that cannot fully break free from the grip of its own darkness without the presence of Batman. Could Gotham be more than just a city? Could it be a living, breathing entity that is bound to Batman in some unfathomable way? And if this is true, then Batman's immortality isn't a matter of physical preservation. It is a spiritual connection, a bond that ties him to the city's very heartbeat. The Lazarus pits, those mystical pools that have granted eternal life to Ra's al Ghul, come to mind. Could there be some kind of metaphysical Lazarus pit that has touched Batman, not through a physical means, but through his spirit? Perhaps it isn't some magical force that keeps him alive, but rather his endless mission, a mission that has become so deeply ingrained in him that it transcends time, transcends the physical. In the moments when his body has been battered beyond recognition, his will, the sheer force of his dedication, has pulled him from the brink, giving him the strength to fight again. In a way, Batman's immortality is bound to the unrelenting darkness of Gotham, a bond forged through his sacrifice, and it is this bond that keeps him coming back. And yet, the question remains: how much of this immortality is truly under Batman's control? Gotham is a place of endless contradictions. The city needs him, but it also feeds off his struggle. Batman can never truly escape it, because as long as Gotham exists, so too will his mission. His fight is eternal, and his immortality is the price he pays for it. The very darkness that surrounds Gotham, the very corruption that seems woven into its streets, keeps him alive, but at a cost. Batman's soul has become intertwined with the city, and in this he is both the protector and the prisoner of Gotham's fate. There are moments, however, when Batman wonders if this is truly his destiny. Is he bound to this city forever? Can there ever be an end to his war, or is he destined to become a permanent fixture in Gotham's battle against the darkness? Every victory feels fleeting. Every criminal he brings to justice always finds a way to return. Gotham cannot be saved in a single night, and neither can Batman's immortality be fully understood in one moment. His existence has become part of the city's DNA, inextricably linked to the very soul of the place. And yet, Batman's fight remains. Even when the odds are impossible, when his body is broken and his mind is weary, he continues. It is not the city that keeps him alive, but his unrelenting purpose, his refusal to allow Gotham to slip into the abyss. Could it be that Batman's immortality is a reflection of his unbreakable will to fight, even when there seems to be no end in sight? What if the true enemy Batman faces is not just Gotham's criminals, but the very nature of his existence? What if his immortality is not just the result of his battle with crime, but the result of his battle with fate itself? Gotham needs him, but perhaps it is Batman's own need to protect Gotham that has made him immortal. A man locked in an eternal struggle, driven by a cause that will never allow him to rest, a cause that will forever define him. As Batman stands atop the roof of Gotham's tallest building, looking out over the city that never sleeps, he realizes that his immortality is not a gift. It is not a blessing, nor a curse. It is the unwavering commitment to a mission that will never end. As long as Gotham breathes, he is both a man and a symbol, and in that duality, he will live forever. Gotham never rests. Its streets, like veins filled with corruption and crime, pulse endlessly beneath the weight of its towering buildings and dark alleyways. The city's soul is one of eternal unrest, a paradox of creation and destruction. And within this city of contradictions stands Batman, a figure that has become as much a part of Gotham as the concrete it's built upon, as the very darkness that defines it. But what if, as Batman wages his eternal battle against the city's chaos, he begins to realize that his immortality, his never-ending fight, is not just a reflection of his dedication, but of something more profound, more mysterious. As the moon rises high over Gotham, casting its pale glow across the rooftops, Batman stands alone watching the city below. The bat signal flickers in the distance, a constant reminder that his work is never done. And as he contemplates the ongoing battle between light and dark, he begins to wonder if he is forever bound to this city. Bound not just by his need to protect it, but by something much older, something more inexplicable. What if Batman, despite his best efforts, cannot escape the cycle of conflict and decay that defines both him and Gotham? There are moments, fleeting but significant, when Batman's resolve falters, the pain of his injuries, the years of unrelenting battles, the emotional toll of his endless sacrifice, all weigh heavily on him, and yet he cannot stop. He cannot rest. His mind, sharp as ever, knows that as long as Gotham needs him, he must continue. But in the quiet moments between his patrols, when the noise of the city fades and the only sound is his own breathing, there is a thought that lingers. Is this truly the end of his journey? Or is it merely the beginning of something much larger, something far beyond what he could ever have imagined? What if Batman's immortality is not just about surviving the threats that come his way, but about enduring the endless cycle of despair, hope, victory, and defeat? Perhaps his fight has become an eternal struggle, one that transcends his individual mission to protect Gotham. Could it be that Gotham, in all its chaos and corruption, has become more than just a battleground for Batman? Has it, in some twisted way, become a place where Batman's will to survive is tested endlessly, where every victory is followed by a new threat, a new challenge, and a new reason to keep going? The answer, perhaps, lies in the essence of Gotham itself. The city, with its unrelenting darkness, has become a reflection of Batman's own internal battle. Each time Batman faces down a criminal, each time he overcomes a new foe, he is not just protecting the city, he is fighting his own demons, fighting the darkness within himself. Gotham's soul is bound to Batman's, and vice versa. The more Batman battles to keep the city safe, the more deeply entrenched he becomes in the cycle of violence and chaos. Gotham needs him just as much as he needs it, and the force that binds them together ensures that neither one can escape. As Batman stands once again on the precipice of another night, the weight of his decision to fight endlessly becomes more apparent. He has chosen this life, this immortal existence, bound to a city that will never be free from the darkness that threatens to consume it. But what happens when the city no longer needs a protector? What happens when Batman's fight comes to an end? Will Gotham be able to stand on its own, or will the darkness finally swallow it whole, leaving only echoes of a time when there was a man, a symbol that never stopped fighting? In the deep recesses of Batman's mind, the question of his immortality lingers, a question that will never truly be answered. For Batman is not just a man fighting crime, he is a force of nature, a symbol of Gotham's eternal struggle. As long as Gotham breathes, so too will Batman rise to meet its challenges. His immortality isn't just a physical truth, it's a philosophical one. Batman will never stop, not because he chooses to, but because he is bound to the city's soul, bound to the very essence of Gotham itself. The criminal underworld of Gotham, the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, and all the others, they understand this better than anyone else. They know that Batman cannot be killed, cannot be destroyed, because he is not a man anymore. He is an idea, and in their madness, they are constantly trying to test this idea, to push Batman to the edge, to make him break. But they cannot. Gotham will never allow it. As long as the darkness of the city exists, Batman will stand guard. It is in this eternal war, this unbreakable cycle, that Batman's immortality is both his greatest strength and his greatest burden. Gotham cannot live without him, but it is also trapped by his presence. For as long as he continues, Gotham will never truly be free. Batman is the protector, the symbol, the eternal watchman, but in his unfathomable connection to the city, he has become something more than just a man. He is Gotham's very soul, its spirit of survival, and its darkest reflection. But what does this mean for Batman? Is he a prisoner of his own design, trapped in a never-ending struggle that will never see peace? Can Gotham ever escape the grip of its eternal protector, or is it destined to be forever bound to the darkness that feeds it, creating a city and a man whose fates are forever intertwined? The questions remain unanswered, but in the shadows of Gotham, where the city's heartbeat pulses alongside the unwavering will of its protector, one thing is certain. Batman's immortality is not just physical, and it is certainly not easy. It is a bond forged not by time but by will, and as long as the city fights, so too will the dark night. And so, the battle continues. An endless cycle where Batman's immortal spirit will remain ever vigilant, ever bound to the city that cannot escape the darkness, and in turn, cannot escape its eternal protector. As the city shifts beneath the weight of its eternal cycle, Batman's vigil endures, unbroken. The winds whip through Gotham, carrying with them the lingering echoes of its troubled past, the darkness that has seeped into every crack of its broken streets. Batman stands as the last bastion against that darkness, an unyielding force in a world where the light often seems just out of reach. But there is something unsettling in the air tonight. Something shifted. And for the first time in his endless war against Gotham's chaos, Batman begins to wonder, has he become a part of this darkness? For all the battles he's fought, all the criminals he's taken down, Batman has never questioned the nature of his own existence until now. How many years has he spent in this struggle? How many enemies has he faced? Only to see them return stronger, more persistent. His mission, his purpose, has remained the same: to protect Gotham from its inherent darkness, to fight for a city that never seems to find peace. But the city has changed him. It has shaped him, molded him into something more than a man. And in the process, Gotham's war has become his own, its endless struggle now defining him as much as the mask he wears. Batman's immortality is not just bound to the city, but to the cycle of violence and rebirth that defines Gotham's existence. As long as Gotham is in turmoil, Batman cannot rest. He cannot die, not because of his own strength or indomitable will, but because he has become something greater, something essential to Gotham's very soul. The city and Batman are no longer separate. They are one and the same, locked in a timeless struggle for survival, each feeding off the other, each refusing to let go. Gotham's needs have become Batman's, and vice versa. The city's very essence demands that Batman continue to fight, even as the years wear on, even as his body breaks down. His body may age, may bear the scars of countless battles, but his spirit remains unbroken. He is bound to Gotham's dark pulse, caught in a never-ending cycle that feeds him, that ensures his survival. But at what cost? As Batman stands on a rooftop, his cape fluttering in the cold Gotham wind, the truth begins to gnaw at him. Is this his destiny? To never rest, never find peace? Has the darkness of Gotham claimed him, just as much as it has claimed the city? His immortality is not just the result of his physical abilities. It is the result of his unyielding dedication, his refusal to let Gotham fall into the abyss. But in this unbreakable bond, Batman wonders if he is now trapped. A man who cannot die because he is so deeply intertwined with the very heart of the city he is sworn to protect. Has Gotham become his prison? Has he, in his attempt to save it, become bound to its eternal conflict? A protector who is never allowed to rest. In the shadows, far below, the criminals of Gotham feel it too. They sense the change. The Joker, ever the observer of chaos, has long since realized that Batman is more than a man. He is a symbol, a reflection of Gotham's soul, and in that reflection, he is both the protector and the prison of the city. Could this be the ultimate joke, the ultimate revelation? That Batman's immortality is not a gift, but a curse, one that ties him to a city that will never find peace, a city that will never let him go. And so, the cycle continues. Batman faces a new wave of criminals, a new breed of madness that threatens to engulf Gotham. Each night is a new challenge, a new test of his endurance, but with each victory, with each criminal he defeats, the darkness only grows stronger. It's as though Batman's fight is endless, because Gotham cannot survive without its darkness, and he cannot survive without Gotham. But is this truly his fate? Is this his purpose, to be Gotham's eternal protector? A force bound to the city's soul, destined to fight in an endless war that can never end? Or is there a way for Batman to break free from this cycle? Can Gotham find peace? Or is it forever locked in its battle with itself? Is Batman truly immortal? Or is his immortality just a product of the city's need for him? A need that has transformed him into something more than human, something that cannot escape. As Batman reflects on this, a dark thought creeps into his mind. Could it be that Gotham's darkness has always been the true enemy? Not just the criminals, not just the corruption, but the very essence of the city itself. A force that has consumed everything and everyone in its wake, including Batman. Perhaps Gotham's immortal struggle is not something that can be defeated, but something that defines the very fabric of the city. And in that struggle, Batman has become both its savior and its prisoner, forever bound to the city's fate. In the end, Batman's immortality is a reflection of Gotham's own darkness. Gotham cannot be free of its crime, its corruption, its evil, because Batman cannot be free of it either. He is the city's eternal protector, a symbol that will never fade, but he is also its prisoner, locked in a never-ending battle that will continue for as long as the city itself endures. And as long as Gotham exists, so too will Batman's fight, an eternal, unyielding battle against the darkness that refuses to die. As Gotham sleeps under the watchful eye of its eternal guardian, the night feels heavier than usual. The air seems thicker, as if the very fabric of the city is holding its breath, waiting for something to shift. Batman, standing silently atop a high rooftop, surveys the city below with his ever-watchful gaze. His cape billows in the cold wind, his sharp, calculated eyes scanning the shadows for any signs of movement. His mind is always in motion, piecing together the countless scenarios and threats that could rise at any moment. Yet tonight, there is something different. A shift in the air, a deeper feeling that something has changed. He has always known the battle against crime and corruption would never end. His purpose is eternal, the city's greatest protector. Yet as the years wear on and the weight of his mission presses against him, Batman begins to sense something deeper at play, something far beyond mere survival. His mind, as sharp as ever, calculates the implications of this unsettling change. Could it be possible that in his refusal to ever quit, Batman has become a force bound not only to Gotham's destiny, but to the very essence of time itself? The question is unsettling, even to someone as resolute as Batman. Gotham, in all its grotesque beauty and decay, is a city defined by its struggles. It's a place that gives birth to chaos, a breeding ground for crime, where every victory feels temporary. No matter how many criminals Batman brings to justice, no matter how many threats he dismantles, the darkness that looms over the city always seems to regenerate, always rising again. It's in this cycle, a cycle that seems to repeat itself endlessly, that Batman's immortality begins to take form. But is it truly immortality, or is it simply the never-ending weight of his mission, bound to the city's pulse? To think of Batman as an immortal figure might be to underestimate the true horror of his situation. Gotham can never be free, not as long as it is chained to the darkness that has always defined it. Batman cannot rest, not because he refuses to, but because the cycle of death and rebirth that defines Gotham has infected him just as much as the city itself. Gotham's war against crime will never cease, and Batman's immortal existence has become inextricably tied to that war. His immortality is not merely about living forever, but about being bound to Gotham's own fate. The shadows cast by Gotham's towering buildings stretch long, but they are not the only thing that endures. The criminals of Gotham, forever drawn to Batman, know this truth too. Joker, the embodiment of chaos itself, has long understood Batman's unique connection to Gotham's soul. Joker's obsession with Batman is not just about creating chaos. It's about breaking Batman, about understanding the nature of his immortality. Over time, Joker has tried to test every boundary of Batman's resolve, and each time Batman has returned, stronger and more focused than before. Why does Batman return? Why does he rise every time, no matter how close to death he has come? Joker knows that it's not just willpower keeping him alive. There is something more profound at work. Could Batman's immortality be Gotham's greatest paradox? Perhaps Gotham itself is the catalyst. Batman's unrelenting need to protect the city, his refusal to let go of his mission, may be the very thing that keeps him alive. Gotham needs its protector, just as Batman needs Gotham. The city is trapped in its own cycle, and in this endless war against crime and corruption, Batman's mission has become as eternal as Gotham's need for a savior. His immortality is not a matter of physical resilience, but of a deep spiritual bond with the city. A bond that will never break because, as long as Gotham fights, so too must Batman. But this realization, this understanding of his true role in Gotham's existence, brings with it a chilling thought. What happens when Gotham no longer needs Batman? What happens when the city has finally found peace, when its darkness has been lifted and crime is no longer its heart? Will Batman's mission end, or will he be left in the shadows, a relic of a time long past? The thought lingers, cold and unsettling. Could it be that Batman is not simply fighting for Gotham's future, but for his own existence? Could it be that the cycle of crime, of darkness, and of his eternal struggle has become the very thing that sustains him? In these moments of reflection, when the noise of the city fades and Batman is alone with his thoughts, the deep truth begins to form. Gotham has shaped him into something more than just a man. He has become an idea, a symbol that cannot fade, no matter the passage of time. The battle that is raged within him, between who he was and who he has become, is a reflection of the battle that Gotham itself faces. Gotham needs Batman, and Batman needs Gotham. They are intertwined, a protector bound to a city that will never be free of its darkness. As Batman stands on the edge of the rooftop, his eyes scanning the streets below, he realizes that this is his truth. His immortality is not just about survival, not just about the endless nights fighting criminals. It's about the endless need Gotham has for him. It is not his strength, his will, or even his mind that keeps him going. It's the unshakable bond he has with the city, a bond that is both a curse and a blessing. Gotham is his soul's anchor, and as long as the city is locked in its eternal struggle, so too will Batman be. His immortality is not just about defeating his foes. It is about never being able to walk away. And so, with every night that passes, with every criminal defeated and every victory claimed, Batman's immortality continues, not because he chooses it, but because Gotham cannot exist without him. The cycle of light and dark, of life and death, continues to repeat. As long as Gotham fights, as long as it needs him, Batman will rise to meet the darkness, never truly resting, never truly free. In Gotham, the eternal struggle continues, as Batman remains its constant protector. His immortality is tied not just to the city's fate, but to the very nature of its soul. As long as Gotham needs him, Batman will endure, a symbol of resilience in a city defined by chaos. His mission is never-ending, his fight eternal. The question is no longer whether Batman will ever die, but whether Gotham, the city that cannot rest, will ever be able to free him. Let me know if you want to explore more of the deeper facets of Batman's immortal struggle. As the night settles once again over Gotham, its dark streets and towering shadows, there stands Batman, watching, waiting, never truly resting. His fight is eternal, his mission unyielding, his existence, bound to the soul of the city, is a paradox, an endless struggle between light and darkness, hope and despair. For Gotham to survive, Batman must endure, and in this immortal cycle where crime and corruption will never truly leave, Batman remains Gotham's protector. In the silence of the night, a quiet truth echoes through the Batcave. Batman's immortality is not merely about his survival, but about the city's need for him. As long as Gotham fights, so too will Batman rise, forever bound to the shadows he seeks to dispel. Gotham cannot escape the darkness that defines it, but neither can Batman escape his eternal role in its fight. In the endless vigil, Batman becomes more than just a man. He becomes a symbol, a constant presence, ever watching, ever fighting. Gotham's soul is bound to his, just as his spirit is tied to the very city he protects. There may be no peace for Batman, no end to the battle, but in that endless struggle, there is purpose, and that purpose, that eternal drive, makes him something more than mortal. He is immortal, not through the body, but through the cause that defines him. And so, in the deep, unbroken silence of Gotham, as the bat signal fades into the horizon, Batman stands alone, a sentinel in the darkness, his fight never over, his mission never complete. For Gotham, with all its shadows and strife, will never rest, and neither will Batman. The city will continue to bleed, and Batman will continue to rise, forever entwined with Gotham's eternal war. A legend that never dies, a protector whose spirit will never fade. Gotham's fight is his, and as long as the city breathes, so will Batman's immortality, forever bound, forever eternal.